Long ago, in the fertile land of Abodo, there stood a compound so wide that children could run from one end to the other before the sun climbed high. The people said the compound breathed. When there was joy, it felt warm. When there was sorrow, it felt heavy. It belonged to Ismadu, a man known not just for his wealth, but for his fairness. He was the kind of father whose voice could calm quarrels and whose laughter could gather neighbors. He had 3 children. Chibuzo, the first son, was built like the Iroko tree, strong, dependable, but unwilling to bend. Nkiru, the only daughter, had a heart like flowing water, quiet, deep, and patient. Ifoni, the youngest, was sharp-minded and quick-tongued, proud of his cleverness. When Ismadu died, the entire village mourned. Drums spoke through the night. Women wailed. Men sat in silence. For 7 days, the children stayed together, eating from the same pot, sleeping under the same roof. During those days, love still lived among them. But grief has a way of opening doors, and through one such door, disagreement walked in. When the mourning cloths were removed, questions began to rise like smoke. Who would take charge of the land? Who would speak for the family? Who would decide what belonged to whom? At first, the disagreements were small. A raised eyebrow. A delayed greeting. A pot cooked without informing the others. Then came the day Chibuzo stood before the family shrine and said, "Our father's staff must rest in my hands. I am the first son." Ifoni scoffed. Birth alone does not make a man wise. Nkeru tried to speak, but her voice drowned in theirs. Soon, the compound changed. Meals were eaten separately. Paths were walked alone. Laughter disappeared like a forgotten song. One evening, during a heated argument, Chibuzo struck the ground with his staff. "This land follows blood and order," he thundered. Ifoni replied with fire in his eyes, "Strength without wisdom destroys everything it touches." The air grew thick. Nkeru cried out, "Are we no longer siblings?" But anger does not listen. That night, the sky darkened early. Rain fell heavily, but only on their compound. Thunder cracked like a warning. By morning, a deep crack ran from the roof of the family house down to its foundation. People gathered. Some whispered, "This is no ordinary crack." The elders were called. After long silence, the oldest elder said, "A house does not split without a reason. Walls break when hearts are already broken." Still, pride sat heavily in the brother's chest. So the elders gave them a task. "Each of you will sleep alone in this house, one night each. No talking. No visitors. Only memory." The first night, Chibuzo stayed. In the silence, the house spoke to him. He remembered carrying palm fruits beside his father. He remembered his father saying, "A family is a bundle of sticks. Break one, and it is easy. Bind them, and they are strong." That night, he dreamed of the land overgrown and abandoned, his strength useless without hands to help. The second night, Ifoni stayed alone. The echoes of his own voice followed him. He remembered arguing as a boy and his father saying, "Clever words cannot replace a kind heart." He dreamed of standing alone on the land, praised for his intelligence but empty of love. The third night, Nkiru stayed. She touched the cracked wall and wept. She remembered cooking with her brothers, laughing as smoke filled the kitchen. She whispered prayers into the darkness. "Let my family not scatter," she begged. By morning, the siblings stood before the elders again. This time, Chibuzo's staff rested on the ground. Ifoni's eyes were lowered. And Nkiru spoke. "Our father did not build this house for one voice," she said. "He built it so we would always return to each other." The elders nodded. The land was shared with fairness. The house was repaired by all hands. And laughter slowly returned. From that day on, whenever voices rose too high, someone would point to the wall and say, "Remember the crack." And the family would fall silent. For they had learned a truth older than the village itself. A family may disagree, but love is the roof that must never fall. When love leaves a home, even the strongest walls will crack.